for sure. Those are great points. Something to add to, right, is just you don't appreciate as much when you're going to you know that the ice is there every single day, but if you're not getting on, every as much and you're getting it's every other day, or if it's only 2-3 times a week, you're definitely appreciating a lot more. It's like, okay, now's my time to get better if you actually care about it, right? Or now's my time to be around the hockey guys that I like a lot, that type of thing. And you really appreciate the time spent doing, I guess, whatever you're doing. And then just fueling the fire. I think it's really important that I'd imagine most people know that when, you're itching to do something, that's when you're going to get a lot better than just when you're getting out there and it's just another day on the ice and another day in the rink.
Yeah, and I think that's important too. You have to practice with purpose, whether it's us as well, at when we do our jobs, if you're just super average at it, you're not, it's the same as going out for a skate and just having lazy habits and stuff. One story I have there is, Connor Mcdavid's a good friend of mine, and he came back to Toronto last year. I think he hurt his leg or his knee. And I got a text from him saying, "Hey, can you come out? I've got some ice, and I want to, what are you doing tonight?" I said, "What do you mean? Well, you've got some ice?" He's like, "Yeah, I rented some ice in Toronto. I just want to, test the leg out for a bit. Can you come push some pucks?" And I'm like, "Okay." So I show up to this rink in Newmarket. He's there just in tracksuit, but like as soon as he stepped on the ice, even with an injury, it was 100% go. I was like blown away at it. He doesn't get out there and lolly do and do the hands. He was injured, and he is still. Like, I remember trying to give him passes. His speed was unbelievable. And I'm like, I thought he was hurt. I looked at his dad, and it was half an hour. He was bagged. He did a bag skate at the end. No one was in the rink. There was no cameras, but it just goes to show he wanted that drive to get back. And it was so purposeful, his practice. There was no, let's hit the crossbar. Let's do this. It was drive to the net hard. It was us kind of telling him to slow down a bit because we were worried, with his injury, but he goes, that's how I train. I can't just, I'm not going to get better if I don't, and that's the pro mentality of, even if you are on the ice and, with these COVID times, you only get half an hour here or it's half ice, be all in on that. It's not just lackadaisical. And when you see the best players in the world do it, when they're, quote unquote injured, it was definitely inspirational. And I was just blown away by his speed. I would not want to be a defenseman facing him in game action because that was practice and I could barely keep up with hitting him on the tape with the passes.
Yeah, that's awesome that you got out there. And I mean, it's just special to see these top end world class athletes and hockey players. It's such a different mindset and personality that they bring. And that's something I learned as I grew through the hockey journey is, it's not just always just that going out there and oh man, having fun. Like it's a certain serious and business to it where you get there and you got to get done what you need to.
Well, especially at the professional level, I've done some world championships and Olympics and World Cups. That's the biggest difference I noticed between the amateurs and the, your everyday minor hockey player between the pros is that rink is their office, and they've got that mindset that this affects their livelihood. If they fool around, no matter, like me, if I don't sign a client, it's going to affect my bottom line. If they don't have a good season and prepare properly, then it's going to affect their bottom line. And that's the biggest difference I see between amateur and professional is that the pros realize what's at stake here and they have short careers, and even the best of the best maximize what they do because there's some kid coming every year in the NHL draft or in a free agent signing out of school that is trying to take their job and their livelihood and their money for their children and everything. So that's where the competitiveness comes in at the professional level of, whoa, there's millions of dollars on the line here,
Yeah, I just had this phone conversation within the past year or two. It's just exactly what you're saying though, is no matter what position you are, all these kids just think it's amazing to make the NHL. It's amazing to be a Sidney Crosby or Connor McDavid. They still in that, in their job, in that league, they still have that pressure to do their job and execute and to perform. It's not just that they've made the NHL and it's all okay now, right? Like they actually still have to do what they've been signed and paid to do.
And no matter what level of success they had, Sidney Crosby is a client of ours at CAA, and I know he's hungry for his fourth cup, and that's what keeps him going. Sidney Crosby has in his weight room in Halifax, he puts up the Stanley Cup winner, hoisting the cup in his weight room every summer as a photo. So when the Hawks won those 3 in a row, you go to Sid's training house in Halifax, and he's got Jonathan Taves on the wall hoisting the cup, because he said, well, it wasn't a great season then if we didn't win the cup. So it just goes to show, like, he's already got 3 multiple Olympic golds, everything, but he puts up a photo in his gym just as motivation of, hey, this guy, St. Louis won the cup. So, or, it just goes to show that those guys, even though they have those brands and those $1 million and they've, Sid's won everything, that they still have that drive. And if that's what gets him through that extra set of squats at his age, at 33, and, he could easily be complacent and say, hey, I've got, tons of time left on my contract and I've won, and hey, let's mail it in. No, Sid is, and that's what's unique about him, is he has that drive, because he sees the Connors and the people coming up behind him, the Jack Eichels and the Austin Matthews, that Sid doesn't want to get pushed out of the league, so if he's doing that and seeing what these young bucks are doing in the league, then that's just what keeps him going. And those are the things that I love with working with the pro athletes, is seeing those little motivation, individual motivation things that each guy has to keep them going and do those workouts, and bag skate themselves at the end when no one's around. And I don't think it's by chance that those guys, especially Sid and Connor, are at the top of their game, because their work ethic is through the roof.
Yeah, they just have a constant. They're just so consistent, and they're that same personality of what drives them to be so successful is just always there. It just seems like, yes, they have good days and bad days, like everyone, but they just constantly just keep picking at what they got to do and how they got to do it.
And they hold themselves to that high standard, right? And that's their standard. And not that, there's guys that are fighting on 2-way contracts to get to the NHL. We're talking about 2 of the best in the game, right? But just goes to show their level of complacency. There is none. They realize that, when their contract's up, they want to stay in the league. They like the lifestyle and like everything, but you have to work to keep that, because there is always someone coming up and trying to get your job.
Sure.